You probably think you've heard it all, but let me tell you, some of the strangest facts have been hiding in plain sight. Interested? I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 totally bizarre facts that'll shock you. 25. The original Fight Club was founded by an aristocrat. Long before Brad Pitt made fight clubs cool, Henry de la Poer Beresford, the 3rd Marquis of Waterford, was living his own twisted version of it. During the 1800s, Beresford was infamous for getting drunk, starting random street fights, and paying others to fight just for his entertainment. But his bizarre behavior didn't stop there. He once offered a train company £10,000 to stage a head-on collision between 2 locomotives, just so he could watch the wreck and laugh at the carnage. And if that wasn't wild enough, he even showed up to court on the very horse he was accused of speeding through crowded streets and insisted they question the horse about it. Unsurprisingly, his defense didn't work. Beresford's reign of chaos finally ended in 1859 when he died in a gruesome horse racing accident, taking his bizarre legacy with him. 24. Your anti-aging cream might contain foreskin. In the world of skincare, ingredients can get pretty strange, but this one may just top the list. Some high-end beauty products, especially anti-aging treatments, use fibroblast cells harvested from infant foreskin to rejuvenate and heal skin. These cells are believed to promote collagen production and improve skin elasticity. After circumcisions, the tissue is sent to labs where nutrients like fibroblasts and cytokines are extracted and added to creams and serums. While it's not illegal, the ethical debate is still alive and well. Beauty brands argue that the process is sterile and safe, but knowing what's in the jar might make you pause before slathering it on your face. 23. The Colossi of Memnon used to sing. Did you know that Pharaoh Amenhotep III's Colossi of Memnon, located in Luxor, Egypt, once did more than just look majestic? After an earthquake hit in 27 BCE, something truly weird happened. One of the statues started singing at dawn. People would gather every morning to hear this strange melodic sound coming from the cracked stone, with some even believing it was the voice of the gods. In fact, the phenomenon became so famous that even historians like Strabo made the trip just to listen. But in 199 CE, after the Roman Emperor Septimius Severus had the statues repaired, the mysterious singing stopped and never came back. Scientists think the sound might have been caused by dew evaporating inside the cracks of the stone as it warmed up in the morning sun, but we'll probably never know for sure. 22. You can track scents too. It's hard to picture someone tracking down a missing chocolate bar by sniffing the ground, but believe it or not, humans can follow a scent trail just like dogs. Well, almost. In 2007, neuroscientists at UC Berkeley had students do just that. They soaked a rope in chocolate essence, dragged it across a field, and then had blindfolded volunteers fitted with noise-canceling earmuffs crawl on all fours to follow the trail. As expected, humans weren't exactly bloodhound levels good at it. But what is surprising is that, with a bit of practice, people quickly improved at tracking scents. What's even more intriguing is that a 2017 study found that humans can detect certain smells, like urine, bananas, flowers, and blood, even better than dogs. Apparently, our sense of smell is sharper than we think when it comes to scents tied to our survival. I'm not sure why we think chocolate falls into that bracket, though. Hey guys, just jumping in here real quick to tell you some exciting news. You know how you love watching our videos for amazing facts? Well, what if I told you that you could also have 500 amazing facts in the palm of your hand? That's right, we wrote a book. This one right here. What the facts are you talking about? And you can order it right now and have List 25 right in your library or on your coffee table or wherever it is you keep your books. It's available right now on Amazon, so click the link in the description and grab yourself and friends and family a copy today. 21. Firefighters can develop heat resistance over time. Some superhuman abilities are earned, not born. Take firefighters, for example. They spend their careers running into burning buildings, facing temperatures that most of us couldn't stand for more than a few seconds. In 2014, researchers discovered that veteran firefighters actually develop heat resistance. A study compared seasoned firefighters with physically fit men who had never faced a blaze. Both groups performed the same task under extreme heat. But while everyone felt the strain, only the non-firefighters found the test exhausting. This heat resistance gets stronger the longer they've been on the job, making veteran firefighters even better equipped to handle dangerous situations. Researchers believe this ability might just be the key to creating more efficient firefighter teams, with experienced firefighters tackling the worst flames first. 20. Our fur could come back at any time. We all still have the potential to grow a full coat of fur. At some point in our ancient history, evolution flipped the switch on the genes responsible for all that hair. But if those genes were ever turned back on, we could all end up with full body fur again. In 2023, researchers at the University of Pittsburgh looked at 370,000 genes across 62 mammal species to figure out why some animals, like humans, elephants, and dolphins, ended up hairless. Interestingly, despite different reasons for losing fur, the same sets of genes were involved. For humans, it's likely those genes were turned off to help reduce parasites clinging to our fur, while for elephants, it was all about better temperature control. So those fur-growing genes are still inside us. They're just not needed right now. 19. Everyone lives inside their own invisible bubble. Known as the exposome, this cloud is home to all kinds of tiny organisms, like bacteria, fungi, bugs, viruses, and even chemicals. The strangest part is that no one really knows just how big these exposomes are, or what's going on inside them. The contents are constantly changing, influenced by everything, from your health to your environment, and even what chemicals you're exposed to. In 2018, researchers tried to figure out what exactly lives in these bubbles by strapping air monitors to the arms of 15 volunteers. The devices collected particles from the air around them as they went about their daily lives. The results? A staggering amount of data. Despite 70 billion computer readouts and countless organisms identified, one key finding emerged. Every person's exposome is completely unique, shaped by the environments they move through every day. 18. You can't actually feel wetness. It seems so simple. You hop in the shower, turn on the water, and immediately feel it on your skin. But in reality, you can't actually feel wetness because our skin doesn't have the right receptors to detect liquids directly. Instead, your brain plays a clever trick by blending sensations like temperature, pressure, and movement to create the feeling of wetness. And sometimes, your brain gets it wrong. For instance, have you ever sat on a cold metal chair or grass and thought that you sat in a puddle? That's because your brain associates coolness with moisture. In a 2013 study, most participants thought a dry probe felt wet when it was chilled to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. The truth is, wetness is just an illusion, a mix of what your eyes see and what your skin senses. 17. You've got hidden stripes. Your skin holds a secret. It's covered in invisible markings called Blaschko lines. These patterns, which include stripes, swirls, and even geometric shapes, trace intricate paths across your body that can't be seen with the naked eye. First discovered by dermatologist Alfred Blaschko, these lines follow the routes skin cells took as they developed in the womb, forming arcs on the chest, spirals on the scalp, and loops on the buttocks. So while you might not look like a tiger on the outside, you've got your own set of stripes just beneath the surface. 16. Children can regrow their fingertips. A few years ago, an 8-year-old girl was rushed to the ER after slicing off the tip of her middle finger right above the nail cuticle. With no way to reconnect it, the surgeon placed the severed tip back on and hoped for the best. While the tip didn't reattach, something amazing happened. A few weeks later, the girl grew a brand new fingertip, bone and all. For decades, doctors didn't fully understand how this regrowth worked. Then in 2013, while studying mice, researchers finally drew some parallels and realized that stem cells at the base of the fingernails spring into action when part of the finger is lost. These cells not only regenerate the nail, but also send signals to encourage bone and nerve growth. Interestingly, mice can regrow their toe tips at any age, showing that humans might have lost some of this remarkable ability as we grow older. 15. A woman vomited for 2 years straight. The legalization of marijuana didn't work out so great for everyone. In 2023, doctors revealed the bizarre case of a 23-year-old woman who couldn't stop vomiting for 2 whole years. She was in and out of the hospital, suffering from intense nausea, stomach pain, and uncontrollable sickness. Despite endless tests and scans, doctors were left scratching their heads. Then, a urine test provided the missing clue. She was a regular cannabis user. While weed can help with nausea in small doses, overuse can lead to cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, or CHS, a condition that causes relentless vomiting. Once doctors figured it out and she quit cannabis, the vomiting finally stopped and her life returned to normal. 14. Killed by a kiss. In October 2012, 20-year-old Myriam Ducry-Lemay went to a party in Montreal, Quebec with her new boyfriend. Since their relationship was still so new, Myriam hadn't yet told him about her severe peanut allergy. After the party, they headed back to her boyfriend's place, and as they got ready for bed, he ate a peanut butter sandwich and brushed his teeth before they kissed. Tragically, that kiss would prove fatal. Within minutes, Miriam started struggling to breathe. She didn't have her EpiPen with her. Her asthma inhaler didn't help, and she wasn't wearing her medical alert bracelet. Her boyfriend called for an ambulance, and they arrived in just 8 minutes. But despite their best efforts, Miriam passed away from severe cerebral anoxia. 13. A woman sleepwalked 9 miles in her pajamas. Walking a mile is hard enough, but in 2015, a 19-year-old woman in Colorado somehow managed to walk 9 in her sleep. Taylor Gamble went missing for hours one Tuesday morning, and when she finally woke up, she found herself miles away from home with no idea how she got there. To make it even more bizarre, she was still in her pajamas and barefoot. According to police, Taylor didn't have an ID, wallet, or money with her, making it unlikely she could have used a bus or a car. Thankfully, she made it back home safely, but walking 9 miles in her sleep? That's both impressive and terrifying. 12. Your tears might just save your life one day. It might surprise you to learn that tears are more like filtered blood than just salty water. They contain traces of glucose, enzymes, and other chemicals found in our blood, which led scientists to wonder if tears could reveal markers of illness. The answer? Absolutely. We literally leak information. Markers for diseases like cancer and Parkinson's have been found in tears. And there's even technology being developed to use tears as a non-invasive alternative to mammograms in breast cancer screenings. In mice, tears have shown markers of environmental pollution and even drug abuse. What makes these discoveries so important is that collecting tears is much easier and less invasive than drawing blood. With a small amount of tears always present in the eyes, there's potential for continuous health monitoring. NASA is even looking into using tears to learn more about how long periods in space affect astronauts' health. 11. Florence, Oregon accidentally banned sex. In 1977, the City Council of Florence, Oregon accidentally passed a law that banned sex. Everywhere in the city. I kid you not. The ordinance wasn't supposed to interfere with what people did in the privacy of their own bedrooms. The council was trying to target lewd activities in public spaces. But the law ended up banning sex, quote, while in or in view of a public or private place, effectively outlawing it citywide. It took a few days for anyone to catch the mistake. Once they did, officials had to quickly reassure residents that the law wouldn't be enforced until they could fix the wording. So, while it caused a bit of a stir, no one got arrested. 10. Texas might have accidentally banned marriage. Since I'm on the subject, while Florence, Oregon's accidental sex ban was caught in days, an error in a 2005 amendment to the Texas Constitution went unnoticed for almost 5 years. The amendment was supposed to ban gay marriage, but the wording went much further, banning the creation or recognition of, quote, any legal status identical or similar to marriage. The problem? Marriage is, well, identical to marriage. Barbara Ann Radnofsky, a Texas Attorney General candidate, was the one who spotted the mistake and pointed out that technically Texas had banned all marriage, not just gay marriage. Her opponents argued that the intent of the amendment was clear, but Radnofsky claimed that the language didn't leave room for interpretation. When the wording of a law is clear on its face, courts aren't supposed to consider the intent behind it. Although Radnofsky believed this could cause serious legal issues, nothing came of it before the gay marriage ban was overturned in 2015. 9. The roots of shoe throwing are ancient. The act of shoe throwing is older than you might think. So ancient, in fact, that it's mentioned in the Bible. In Psalm 60:80, God declares, Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. In some translations, cast out is replaced with throw, suggesting that God really had it in for Edom, an ancient kingdom in the Middle East. While the exact meaning of God's shoe throwing isn't entirely clear, the interpretations are all negative. It was meant as an insult, similar to how people view shoe throwing today. One theory is that it refers to an old custom where throwing a shoe on the ground symbolized taking possession of something. Another idea is that it might reflect the way a master would throw a dirty shoe at a servant, demanding that they clean it. And for Florida Gator fans, throwing a shoe means something completely different. Sorry. 8. Japan has unique rodent outbreaks. Japan is famous for its traditions and architecture, but it also has a rare phenomenon: rodent outbreaks tied to bamboo. Every 120 years, masting occurs when dwarf bamboo flowers, seeds, and dies off en masse. The bamboo cycle triggers massive increases in field mice populations, long rumored and finally confirmed in 2022 by Nagoya University researchers. The bamboo seeds create perfect conditions for mice, boosting their numbers up for 2 years after the bamboo dies. Unfortunately, this surge is bad news for farms and forests, with widespread plant damage and tree die-offs linked to these rodent booms. 7. Some of the craziest things have been sold for $1. Today, $1 won't get you much. Maybe a candy bar or a fast food hot dog, but some of the most iconic things in history were sold for just $1. For example, Coca-Cola's bottling rights were sold for $1, and in the 1920s the insulin patent was sold to the University of Toronto for the same price. Ruth Wakefield, who invented the chocolate chip cookie, gave Nestle the rights to a recipe for $1 and a lifetime supply of chocolate. One of the strangest stories, though, involves James Cameron. Before becoming one of Hollywood's most famous directors, Cameron was an unknown filmmaker struggling to get his movie The Terminator made. Desperate, he sold the rights to the film for $1, on the condition that he could direct it. While some studios liked the idea, none would agree to let him direct, until one finally did. The Terminator was released in 1984, and Cameron's career skyrocketed, making him one of the most successful directors of all time. 6. England has thousands of ghost ponds waiting to come back to life. Ghost ponds might sound strange, but they're not supernatural in any way or form. These are old ponds that have been buried under farmland for centuries, and while the water may be gone, the original plants are still there, hidden just beneath the surface. Researchers from University College London estimate that there are about 600,000 of these forgotten ponds scattered across England. In 2017, they dug up 3 of them and were able to revive 8 types of aquatic plants, some from seeds that have been lying dormant for 150 years. Incredibly, they even managed to fully restore one of these ghost ponds, giving scientists a chance to uncover rare or even extinct plant species, and just like zombies, bring them back from the dead. 5. The Smithsonian has a 16th century robot monk. Among the Smithsonian's massive collection is one seriously bizarre artifact, a 16th century mechanized monk from Spain. This 15-inch wooden figure isn't just for show. It's equipped with gears that make it move. Wind it up, and the tiny monk will walk, move its arms through a series of devotional poses, and open and close its mouth as if it's chanting. But its backstory is even stranger. In 1562, Spain's crown prince Don Carlos was severely injured in a fall, throwing the monarchy into crisis. His father, King Philip II, desperately sought medical help, but nothing was working. As Don Carlos's condition worsened, it looked like Spain might lose its heir. In despair, King Philip turned to prayer, asking for divine intervention. Miraculously, Don Carlos survived. Overjoyed, King Philip commissioned a world-renowned clockmaker to build the mechanized monk as a sign of gratitude for his son's recovery. The monk symbolized the king's devotion and thanks for what he saw as a miracle. 4. Counting the nose hairs of cadavers. The Ig Nobel Prizes never fail to showcase some of the most unusual research, and the Medicine Prize in 2023 was no exception. A team of international scientists tackled an important and bizarre question. Do our left and right nostrils have the same number of hairs? Nostril hairs are more than just a peculiar feature. They play a key role in keeping us healthy by blocking large particles from entering our noses. So to answer the big question, researchers got to work by individually plucking and counting the nostril hairs of 20 cadavers. Yes, cadavers. The results? Pretty close. On average, the right nostril had 112 hairs while the left had 120. Most of the hairs were found at the front of the nose, supporting the theory that nostril hairs act as our first line of defense. 3. We studied whale earwax. According to researchers from Baylor University in Texas, these marine mammals showed signs of alarm in the early 1940s. How do we know? By analyzing their earwax, of course. How else would we do it? The team studied earwax from fin, humpback, and blue whales in the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans with records dating back to 1870, and found that during stressful times, whales produce more cortisol, a stress hormone which gets trapped in their earwax. The whales' cortisol levels spiked during World War II, corresponding with the global conflict. They also found heightened stress in the 20s, 30s, and 60s, when whaling was rampant. By the mid-1970s, whaling had largely stopped in the Northern Hemisphere, and cortisol levels dropped. However, recent data shows that whale stress is rising again, which scientists believe could be linked to increasing ocean temperatures. 2. A secret World War II treasure map came to light, but we're banned from searching for it. In 1944, during the German invasion of Arnhem, 4 soldiers decided to go rogue and rob a bank. They made off with a fortune of jewels, coins, and precious stones, worth millions today. But as the Allies advanced a year later, they buried the loot in the village of Omeren, Netherlands. One soldier even sketched a map showing where they hid the treasure, which eventually found its way into the Dutch National Archives. In 2023, the map was made public, and treasure hunters rushed to Omeren, ready to uncover the stash. The problem? The treasure was buried under a popular tree that's long gone, leaving its exact location a mystery. With metal detectorists swarming the village, Omeren had to ban treasure hunting. It wasn't just a nuisance to the locals, but it also posed a real danger of triggering buried World War II explosives. For now, the treasure remains to be found. 1. People are smuggling their dead relatives into Iraq. It might sound crazy, but families have been sneaking their dead relatives' bodies into Iraq's Wadi al-Salam cemetery for years. This isn't just any cemetery either. It's the largest in the world, with over 6 million people buried there. For Shiite Muslims, being laid to rest in Wadi al-Salam is sacred and believed to bring peace in the afterlife. But here's the problem. War and skyrocketing costs have made it nearly impossible for regular families to afford a burial here. Some plots now go for over $4,000, a price most can't manage. So families have resorted to hiring smugglers who use the same secret routes that traffickers used for drugs and weapons to transport the dead into the cemetery at a fraction of the legal cost. Despite government efforts to stop it, the smuggling keeps going. For many, it's the only way to make sure their loved ones are buried in the holiest of places, keeping the tradition alive, no matter the risks. And that's a wrap for today. If you enjoyed this list, well, I've got something else you'll love. We did a video on 25 shocking historical events you never knew existed, and it covered everything from covert military experiments to gruesome acts of war. These were moments in history that were buried deep, hidden by those who didn't want the truth to come out. You want to know more? Well, then just click the link right here, and I'll catch you next time.